Win big with new DRF All Access Past Performances. With one best-in-class product, you now get all three past performance formats. Go to DRF.com and use coupon code 1FREEPP for a free single card today.
Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer. Race 8 at Belmont at the Big A on Sunday is the Grade 3 Matron. We're going 3/4 of a mile on the outer turf. 2-year-old fillies racing for $175,000. Before we take a look at the entries, remember this deal. DRFTV viewers get a special 10% off all DRF past performances by using the coupon code DRFTV10. Shop now. Access the QR code on your screen. Here's the field for the Grade 3 Matron. It's a wide open field of 2-year-old fillies. It's a big field. And the 8 Larice is 7-2 on the morning line off a pretty good looking sprint win at Saratoga.
Yeah, we'll see. This is, just one of those races where nobody stands out, Dan. I can't imagine that David had a very good time making the morning line for this race. I mean, you just have a bunch of horses in here who are lightly raced. They're all non-winners of 2 life eligible. And we'll just see how it all plays out on the racetrack.
A lot of these horses showed good speed in their career debuts or second lifetime starts. Let's see where Timeform US has them on the pace projector. Not surprisingly, we're expecting a fast pace. The 12, you gotta have hope. Tough outside post position, showed good speed on dirt, has some turf pedigree.
Has a lot of turf pedigree, did run really well, winning on debut. This is a New York bred, but did show good speed. Unfortunate that she drew the far outside post here, Dan, but don't be surprised if Santana comes out of the gate running here and tries to make the lead.
The 8, the 5, the 7, and 3 all come off gate to wire wins and should show some speed. The 4, Serene Spirit, has the fastest Timeform US late pace rating. Maybe she'll rally off hot fractions. The 1, Will Not Be Swayed, made a successful switch to turf for her 3rd lifetime start. She was bet to odds on at Kentucky Downs, and she looked like an odds on winner.
Yeah, she really did. I mean, overall, just got a really good trip in this race from just off the pace. But once Giroux moved her wide off the turn there, she ran right by these horses and wins for fun here. Looks like she handles the turf just fine to me, Dan. Her first 2 starts, I thought, were both pretty good. I know that she lost the second of those at a really short price. Her debut was a really good performance. And then second time, she didn't run quite as well, but she did get wired that day. Really took to the turf last time.
Connections might have gotten a bargain with the 2, Baytown Butterfly, a $10,000 daughter of Omaha Beach, considering her female family. She's a direct descendant of Courtly D. Omaha Beach, 12% winners with first-time turf runners. This dam's foaled 2 turf winners from 4 to try the surface. She's already made out for these connections, made $72,000, but this is a tough spot on turf.
Yeah, tough spot here. Did win her career debut and hasn't really done much since then in some tougher races. So they're going to try just a totally different surface here. And listen, there's some real class and quality in this pedigree if you go back a couple of generations, but it's a lot of dirt in there too.
I'm Wishing on a Star is the number 3, and like Will Not Be Swayed, switched to turf and immediately made hay. Let's watch that race at Monmouth Park. Second time out, the gray shows good early speed and keeps right on going. She's going to get blinkers for the first time on Sunday.
Yeah, I think she's going to get the blinkers because of this right here, Dan. She gets to that gap there on the turf course. She tries to drift into it there a little bit, goes to her wrong lead, but she didn't stop running, and she never gave these horses a chance to catch her at the end. Did show really big speed from the gate there. Her riders asked her to go. She went and just opened right up on that field. I thought she ran really, really well in that race. She's going to be a price in there.
The Colts Neck outfit over the years have had some good turf sprinters when Alan Goldberg was the trainer, now Jorge Duarte. And the 4, Serene Spirit, scored at Monmouth, going a mile last time out off a good effort at 5/8 in the debut. Let's watch Serene Spirit, who sat off a pretty solid pace for this distance and then is able to grind it out over 2 next out winners. The 7th place horse came back to graduate at Laurel in a maiden special with a 54 buyer. It is so tough to cut back on turf, though.
Yeah, it really is. At least she gets to cut back to 6 this time. He doesn't have to go all the way back to 5. So we'll see how it plays out. I mean, there is a lot of turf sprint in this pedigree, and she's a Speightstown. So we'll see. I mean, just more game than anything else, getting the job done there, Dan. But her debut sprinting the 5 furlong race, they had to sort of use her to make the lead. The horses came after her in that race, so she didn't get to rate it at all. Opened a big lead. She got nailed on the wire, but I still thought she ran pretty well sprinting.
The 5, Miriam's Fire, did some good things in her debut for a good trainer in Michael Maker. The surprise was that she paid $42. Let's watch Miriam's Fire, who beat the gate, went to the lead, turns into the stretch in front, and holds off the closers. I thought she ran hard every step.
Yeah, this is typical New York turf racing, though, Dan. I mean, she goes to the lead here. She gets to the rail. Nobody really wants to come after her. She gets to go 46 on the lead. The horse who sat on the rail right behind her the entire way tries to catch her late. and can't do it. I don't really want to knock her too much because she's well connected and she's got a decent pedigree too. But I'm not betting her off that race because she just had all the best of it in there, and I don't think that's going to happen in here.
Pop Idol is the number 6. She'll be making her turf debut for George Weaver. She's by McLean's Music, and she's run well twice on synthetic, if you believe that form successfully translates to turf, including her most recent race, 5.5 on the Tapeta at Woodbine. This pace wasn't necessarily fast, but Pop Idol got to the outside and is able to get away from this group late.
Yeah, I thought she looked good winning this race, and I do appreciate that she did it from like just off the pace too. So maybe she just winds up in a really good trip here, first time on the grass. I mean, she's got enough pedigree here to handle this surface switch, and doesn't look to me like she's going to be overmatched by these horses. Dan Irad takes them out 10-1 morning line. I'm not knocking this horse.
Is the 7 Flirting with Time just a Kentucky Downs move up? She was well beaten in her debut after showing speed at Saratoga. She was well beaten, washed off the turf second time out. She went to Kentucky Downs. The fans had had enough. She's 14-1, and she wins like Secretariat.
She looks really good running away from this field. Look at her bolting through the stretch of this race, though, Dan, just leaving this field behind. So listen, maybe there's just nothing behind her in this race. I don't know. That certainly could be the case. But you should go back and watch the full replay though, because I mean, she's just absolutely loose in this race. Like, I mean, she opens up on this field out of the gate, and nobody is ever near her at any point in this race. It's almost like she never even had to run.
The 4th place horse did come back and win with a 78 Beyer speed figure, so maybe Flirting with Time is figuring it out for Joe Sharp. Larissa is the morning line favor off this win at Saratoga. It's a career debut going 5.5 furlongs, fast pace. 21-2, 44-3. She stays close to it. She grinds it out. This was a well-prepared debut.
Yeah, you're used to that with George Weaver, especially with his turf sprinters, the 2-year-olds. They're ready to go at first asking, and that was the case with this filly. She did sit up on a hot pace. She makes her way to the front. She's going to hold off the closers at the end. Nothing wrong with the performance. Then if I'm going to knock her, and the only reason I would want to knock her is because she is the morning line favorite, and this is maybe not the kind of race where you want to be betting the favorite. Second and third place finishers, the ones that were running at her late there, they both already run back. They both went off at really short prices. Neither one of them improved, and they both got beat.
Second Chance is the number 9. Debut winner for Belmont going 5.5, and then Bill decided to stretch her out in the P.G. Johnson, and she made the lead that day, and she tired, and maybe that distance at this point in her career is just a little bit too much for the New York bred, so she's going to turn back to 6 in here, and maybe she'll get a setup.
Yeah, maybe she'll be able to do it a little bit differently here. They did put her right up close in the debut, and that was a race that was just dominated up on the lead, and she managed to get the job done there at the end, put her on the lead, finish last in the P.G. Johnson last time. I don't mind her cutting back. I wonder if she's good enough to beat this field.
Bientôt, the number 10, was a pretty good figure winner 2 starts back at Saratoga with a 76, where she made a 4-wide bid turning for home. Was pretty game to turn back the runner-up, who seemed a little green in the stretch. She got washed off in her final start at Saratoga, but then showed up at Kentucky Downs in a competitive edition of the Untappable at 6.5, and she runs on to be third.
I thought she ran well in this race. I mean, didn't have a poor trip by any means, but they did move her widest of all coming to the stretch here. She's running. She's trying really hard in this race, and she can't quite get there. This is a really good horse that's coming from out of it to close this thing down, and she finishes, to me, a really good third. I really liked her career debut where she, on this turf course, she had an impossible trip that day and actually ran well, won her second start, ran fine there. I thought she was the horse to beat, and she's 10-1 on the morning line.
Bientôt ran third in that race. Civetta, the number 11, ran fourth. She's a beautifully bred daughter of Into Mischief. I thought she was solid in her debut at Ellis Park. She didn't have to love that surface at Kentucky Downs, but she likely gained a lot of fitness. She goes out for very good connections, and she might be a square price.
Yeah, agreed. She was in that replay that we just showed there, sort of down on the inside doing some chasing, and she just couldn't quite get there at the end, but she showed no quitting there and just got out finished at the end. I have no problem with that performance. I liked her debut. I get that she's bred to stretch out, but as of now, she seems like a horse who's very comfortable going shorter, and she doesn't need the lead to be effective. I'm using this horse.
The 12, You Gotta Have Hope, was a facile debut winner on dirt for trainer Horacio De Paz, but is certainly bred for turf. I love the twirling candies on the grass. Yep. The dam was stakes placed on the surface, and the dam's a half to a multiple grade 3 place turf router. It's a tough outside post. It's a big ask trying turf for the first time against some promising horses, but this horse has speed, pedigree, and a little ability.
I agree with all that stuff, Dan. I mean, if she had a better post in this race, I'd have her in there somewhere, and I still would try to find a way to use her in multi-race wagers because I do think this is a pretty good spot to make the surface switch, and she's bred to handle it.
Top pick time for the Grade 3 Matron, the third of 3 graded races at Belmont at the Big A on Sunday. Mike will not be swayed by the fact that this horse won at Kentucky Downs last time out. She did it very easily, and I can see her sitting a nice trip just in behind the lead.
That's ultimately why I took her. I just feel like she might fall into the right kind of trip here, and she did handle the turf just fine. And she also, again, I thought she ran well on dirt, so I think she's a talented enough horse to go with these kinds of rivals here. I thought there was a good trip coming. I'll take her on top.
Bientot's 2 turf sprints have both been good, and I think she might get the right race flow. This pace, I think, just has to be solid, and maybe she can come with a good kick as she did last time out. 1:11.10.3 for Mike, 10:8.12.5 for me. What a competitive edition of the Grade 3 Matron at Belmont at the Big A on Sunday. Best of luck. Hey, let me give you a hot tip. If you liked the content that you've seen before, click on the like and subscribe button right here. And of course, for more DRF videos like Race of the Days, stakes previews, click on the videos right here.